Hey, what's up, folks? Stu Myrick, Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, back here in the beautiful ATX, in the worldwide headquarters of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, also known as the worldwide headquarters for Longhorn Lowdown, the North Austin Bureau of the Horn, and the Austin Radio Network, and a few other places. I took some, by the way, to several of you, thank you for the birthday wishes. Celebrated my 52nd birthday last Wednesday. Took some time off from work and everything. Went to the Ouachita River in Arkansas, southwest Arkansas. Beautiful spot. Disconnected as best as I could. I have found out it is really hard to disconnect because, you're always used to looking at your phone, looking at stuff, looking at, whatever. And especially for me, between the sports and the wrestling and everything, it's hard. It's really hard. But enjoyed some great time off. Saw some family I have not seen since I was a child, which that was great. So all in all, a fantastic trip. Got to hang out with my younger brother. And so wonderful trip. So tonight we are expected to talk to Justin Barrasso, our good friend from Sports Illustrated. He wrote a great piece last week leading up to the debut of WWE's Thunderdome. I didn't put. Hold on. Let's see if I can bring. Let's try that again. To the debut of WWE's Thunderdome. Yes. So that was there. So, of course, we got to see it. SmackDown on Friday night. SummerSlam on Sunday. Raw last night. So, we get his thoughts on what we saw with Thunderdome. Is it something that could help the product? Is it little more than a fresh coat of paint on something that, whatever? I kept calling it lipstick on a pig. Probably not that harsh, but interesting that they had some issues with some of the virtual fans in the virtual WWE universe. Certain images that popped up from time to time. For instance, there was a Chris Benoit picture in one of the seats. Of course, WWE's has disavowed anything having to do with Chris Benoit. There was a KKK picture, which that was in absolutely poor taste. The milder ones, like someone had a giant GCW logo, Game Changer Wrestling logo. Somebody else had their sign for the MJF 2020 gimmick that they're running AEW, where MJF's going to challenge Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title All Out. Different little things, I think I saw Sign Guy Rick, a guy that we've seen a lot at different cards, even at independent cards. Great guy. He was there. He was in the front row, in fact. So, and this is taken off of what the NBA is doing right now with their virtual fans in the bubble there in Orlando. So, it'll be interesting to hear what the feedback is. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was fine. I liked it. I just, again, does it change the storytelling? Does it change gimmicks? We'll see. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the turnaround, the quick turnaround from SummerSlam to Payback this coming Sunday. We have 4 matches so far as I know. Let me make sure. Turn that down. Let's make sure. As far as I know, we have 4 matches. We've got the triple threat with The Fiend, who is now the Universal Champion, taking on the Monster Braun Strowman. Again, taking on the returning Roman Reigns, which that was a surprise. You never saw it coming, as the tagline likes to say. So, let's see. Yeah, Bayley Sasha defending the women's tag team titles against the unlikely duo of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. You got Keith Lee, who debuted on Raw. Awesome debut, although I, along with a lot of people, are disappointed. Now, I mean, a lot of people were outraged. I was disappointed. They changed his music, and they changed his ring gear. It doesn't fit. It's just not him. But whatever. He's going to take on Randy Orton, and then Apollo Crews defending the United States Championship against Bobby Lashley. So, as far as I know, though, those are the only 4 matches, and I'm looking at WWE.com right now, and those are the only 4 matches we have so far. Obviously, with SmackDown coming Friday night, we'll see if we get more matches. So, you've got AEW. The ratings came out. They actually did just fine for moving from Wednesday to Saturday because the NBA playoffs. I think they dropped a few thousand, nothing big. And going on Saturday night with competition, hey, with that minimal a drop, not bad. Their schedule is shifted again this week. Again, because of the NBA playoffs, the Dynamite will air on Thursday night in its regular time slot, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and it'll be on TNT, but it'll be Thursday night instead of Wednesday night. So, a couple of things that came out of Saturday's Dynamite. Of course, Brody Lee, the leader of the Dark Order, defeats Cody Rhodes for the TNT title, and then the Dark Order just absolutely beats down Cody, Dustin, even had Anna Jay choking out Brandy. I mean, just, laying out the Nightmare family. So we'll see how that develops out of that, excuse me. And then, of course, as I said, they're building towards All Out, their next pay-per-view. Well, Hikaru Shida, the current AEW Women's World Champion, apparently has a challenger at All Out. And it's someone very familiar with us. It is our good friend and the current NWA Women's World Champion, Thunder Rosa. So that match will be at All Out September 5th. So that'll be interesting. So we'll talk a few other things, whatever else with Justin. We'll also look at the next New Japan Pro Wrestling episode of NJPW Strong. By the way, congratulations to Kenta winning the New Japan Cup USA. He gets the shot at Jon Moxley and the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. It does seem that Jeff Cobb wants a crack at it, so he may be challenging Kenta for that briefcase. And the other thing's going to be when and where does that title take place? Because, again, Jon Moxley, also contracted to AEW. He can do New Japan shows, but not in the U.S. At least that's the arrangement. Well, they can't exactly go to Japan. That's kind of the whole reason they're doing these shows. So we'll see. Does Tony give him a one-time allowance and let them do it? Do they do that at All Out? Could we see we fans have hoped for some sort of relationship. and he's got you got the wrong eye black though. It's the other eye.
It looks different on camera.
No, it's not mirrored.
In my world it is.
In your world it is?
In my world it is mirrored.
Okay, sure.
Booyaka! Shout out to Rey Mysterio and Dom for their match.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, how cool is that though?
Yeah, stupid Retribution had to ruin it.
Oh, we don't know if Retribution's stupid yet. They're really not much of anything.
No, they're stupid. They're stupid. They're still the kids that should be home after dark. They had to run that great match.
Like after dark, to watch AEW, or like after dark?
They need to just be home. Just get out of our lives. They're a nuisance.
Well, I mean, the WWE's rented a Amway Center up until
for
a good amount of time. So Retribution can legitimately be staying at the Amway Center per night
probably sleeping outside.
Oh, we don't know that
something,
yet.
You know,
We don't even know who these people are. So who
no,
knows
we
where
don't.
they sleep?
We don't,
But
and that's part of the problem.
But the one thing I did notice is that one of them is a female.
actually, I think two of them, at least last night. Now
yeah,
again,
at least
they
last
keep,
night for sure was one.
right. They keep changing the crews, and we've heard multiple times that whenever they do reveal whoever they are, it won't be the same people we see like right now.
Well, until they're who they are.
Yeah,
who they are.
yeah. When they take off their masks, at least a few of them will not be the ones we're seeing right now, causing all the chaos.
But who could it possibly be at this point that would even make it interesting?
That's the problem.
Because
That's the absolute problem. If you're going to bring back people that were released on Black Friday, well, not too many of them are left outside of Rusev. Most everybody's signed to somebody.
But
whether it's
Rusev
Impact
even
and AEW. So, and Rusev, I don't know. That doesn't seem like something he'd be interested in. But hey, who knows?
He said he was done.
Yeah, he said he was done. He said he's just going to do Twitch. So,
we'll if he can make a living off of just doing Twitch, more power to him.
No kidding. So it can't be any of them. So then it's kind of like, well, then whoever is revealed, it's going to be a letdown, because no matter what, you're going to put Dominic Dijakovic in there.
But none of those guys ever looked as big as Donovan.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You're going to, could it be? I've seen one theory floated that it could be, Evolve wrestlers. Because WWE bought out Evolve, so maybe this is Evolve trying to do their version of the invasion angle with
but
WCW.
It's going to be somebody like Retro Anthony Green. Is that his last name?
That's one, either him.
No
or
offense.
or AR Fox and don't give me again,
no disrespect
we love
to them.
Him. Yeah, AR Fox, great guy. I've had a great conversation with him about a year ago in Dallas. He's a great guy. A lot of those wrestlers are incredibly talented, but that's not going to move the needle on WWE programming. NXT, sure.
Like, it would work if they just came out as a group and then did all this stuff with us knowing who they were, but because like the Nexus, who the Nexus were,
right?
And you got to see it. There was no secrets.
And that's part of the problem. The Nexus was, it was a great angle to start with. Now, if it fell flat, especially after John Cena beat everybody,
but at least he made it.
But
well, he squashed 8 careers right there.
Yeah, but in the beginning, it worked beautifully.
Yeah,
and part of it was, yes, we knew who they were from the beginning. I don't get this. I don't get the mask, other than they have said repeatedly in different interviews, this has no tie to anything political like Antifa or whatever. I'm going, well, then why do you have them masked? You don't even know who you're going to have as Retribution, and that's kind of this circle. That's the cycle of why it's such a silly angle, and it's just a waste of time.
Well, obviously, people are going to wonder, if it's so important, why didn't they do anything at SummerSlam?
Thank you. Yes, you're right. Didn't see him at SummerSlam. I would think if you're wanting to cause chaos, what better way to cause chaos than on WWE's second biggest show?
Especially when they're just trying to test out everything. It would have made perfect sense.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing, the inconsistency. Last night on Raw, we didn't see him until the very end. We've seen him. It just, I don't know. It's the way it's just confusing and weird and more of a nuisance than anything.
I was okay with that, though, because it seemed like they were going to just drop the angle altogether because you didn't see him at SummerSlam, and then they kind of held out until the very end. And now, since the feud is over, right? The Seth feud has to be over between Mysterio, Dom, and the Monday Night Messiah. So if Retribution's going to become a real thing, what better way than to go into a feud between the Mysterios?
Okay,
because
but
at least
again,
that'll be the first. It gives them at least a legitimate first challenger.
Okay, but again, why? What's the backstory?
They just beat them up.
No, but why? Why are they beating them up? Make
a statement.
So they figure the Mysterios instead of say, Drew McIntyre or even Apollo Crews or the Street Profit.
They know they're not on that level
yet.
They're
champions. Let's go Heavy Machinery. Let's go.
Is Heavy Machinery even a thing still?
Yeah. They were on SmackDown Friday night.
Because what was the big thing out of SummerSlam? Everybody was all like, "Oh, Otis."
They had Mandy trying to do the worm, and she went backwards.
No, the big thing after SummerSlam was Otis. Like everybody was putting it on Twitter. Is like, "Oh, Otis looking at he has to cash in between the Fiend, Braun, or Roman Reigns." It's like, he's not looking like he's going to be in a position to cash in that Money in the Bank anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true.
I bet you he's going to be one of those guys that ends up losing it in a match.
He could. They've broken that barrier, so it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility. But I mean, there's so many people. I mean, and I guess I don't know, the Mysterio thing.
I'm for it. I thought it was great. I was a big fan of Ken Griffey Jr. growing up, so to see father and son getting a chance to wrestle together.
I love that. It's just the whole Retribution attacks the Mysterios. All right, whatever. I guess it's I mean, they could just say it's random. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, maybe. I
was going to say, you do realize that Rey in Spanish means king, and like this is Rey Mysterio. I think it's a big deal if you're going to pick on Rey Mysterio, a former heavyweight champion, right? The best cruiserweight of all time.
Oh, I'm totally for that. But again, it's kind of like tell me,
besides Drew McIntyre or some major champion, what other random person could you actually have them attack
on the Raw roster
besides the Crew?
I was going to say, why not? If they want to go with that, why not Ricochet or Cedric Alexander? Although I guess they're going to kind of be, but that wouldn't have meant anything either.
Yeah, those guys are way less important than Rey Mysterio right now.
I think it's just my sourness on Retribution. I think they just need to go away. I was following Twitter last night, and somebody said, "I hope this means I'd be totally okay for once if WWE decided just to drop this angle for no reason." WWE has that penchant, and usually it frustrates everybody. This one I'd be perfectly okay with.
But all pro wrestling does that, and it's usually due to sets of circumstances too.
Well, but they'll drop it without explanation. Most companies will at least it may be a contrived thing, but they'll say something. They'll put it up with suspension or whatever. Something weak. WWE will drop something just, because they think you'll forget about it in 2 weeks.
Didn't AEW drop like a whole faction because
Nightmare Family? The Nightmare Collective. Yes.
Yeah, like no explanation.
Now they did yes, because Brandy offered an explanation.
But where?
Not on TV, was right? Yeah, it was that was thing. It was kind of buried in stuff.
It's like for me, it was like the same deal. And it's like, WWE does the same thing. They'll come back and tell you 3 weeks later, oh yeah, they got seriously hurt.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, and that's part of the part of what AEW has a problem with is, they'll either bury it somewhere or it's one of their YouTube series that not as many people watch. So, and not everybody watches all the YouTube as well as Dynamite. So you may miss that part. That's where they need to do a lot of recapping or save that stuff for TV and not do that stuff on.
Would they be one of the few places in the world of professional wrestling? I think the WWE would be beneficial of this as well, now that I think about it, where a true recap show would be like a dedicated recap show. Like that's all that show is, an hour that splices all this stuff into it to give you a synopsis, a good rundown of what's going on. So because I'm not one of those people that always goes chasing the BTE clips and stuff.
Right.
So if they were to just to take that idea and just put that online, I'd probably be more in tune to actually view that as somewhere on television.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you put it online, well, that's just adding more online content.
I know, but like you can't get like a Saturday morning gig like you used to with WWE.
See, that's not so bad. I think there could be, or even just a segment on Dynamite that recaps. Now they did start doing, so they'll have a crawl during Dynamite that recaps what happened on Dark. And that's good, but they don't. But and that again, this is kind of something they need to get away from is, setting up major angles on like BTE it's kind of like, okay, hold on. BTE was originally a travel vlog for Kenny Omega and the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was the Bucks, and then Omega
It's
joined.
like, yeah.
So they need to leave that as that. And by the way, we will have Justin Barrasso at 7:30. He is finding a quiet place so that we can call him. So Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated will join us for the first segment of the show. The second segment is in the can. I had an interview with Kyle Hessler. He is the head of talent relations for Fighting Words Promotions, which usually does boxing and MMA.
Yeah.
But they are going to put on the Indie Wrestling Expo this coming weekend. And it's 2 days, and they've got just a slew of talent. I mean, they've got AEW talent like Shawn Spears, Lance Archer. They've got MLW talent like their current world champion, Jacob Fatu. They've got Hammerstone. Let's see, who else? They've got Jeff Cobb's on the card. The NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis is on the card. Plus some of the best Texas independent wrestling talent like Chandler Hopkins and who else am I thinking? I saw his face. Jason Taylor, and just a great slew of talent. And they're going to do this in North Richland Hills at the NY Tech Sports Center, which is where MLW usually runs. But they're going to do it there. It's going to be cards on Friday night, Saturday night. They also got a card on Saturday afternoon, plus the expo, which will be meet and greets, autographs, that type of thing, socially distanced during the day on Saturday.
Yeah, it's still going to be interesting to see how that goes and how that lines up. And
yeah, I agree.
Obviously, I'm just really concerned for the people that are having to leave the Gulf area in Galveston and Port Arthur because
our prayers.
People are getting bussed over here to Austin.
Yes, they are. Our prayers to everybody on the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast. Hurricane Laura barreling through the Gulf, expected to hit landfall late tomorrow night or early Thursday morning as a major hurricane, Cat 3 hurricane. Evacuations are happening. There's mandatory evacuations in Galveston and Beaumont. They're setting up reception centers.
When was the last time something like this happened? I've never seen. I've seen evacuation routes because I'm from the Gulf area myself. I'm like from the valley, but I've never had to use it.
Right. The last major hurricane was probably Harvey in 2017. Before that, especially for this particular area, I would say Ike in 2008.
Okay.
That was a pretty, especially with Galveston. Gustav and Ike in 2008 really decimated Galveston Island. So I know they've got something set up at the Circuit of the Americas here in Austin. They've got places set up in San Antonio and in the Metroplex and a few other spots.
That's thousands and thousands of people that had to flee today. And it's just like, wow, there's like a pandemic.
Yes.
There's tornadoes and fires in California, and now there's 2 simultaneous hurricanes.
Yes. And luckily, Marco dissipated. So Marco is nothing now.
Okay, that's good.
Marco is now, I think it's basically a remnant low-pressure system. As soon as it hit the mouth of the Mississippi, it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, because I was thinking about like my friends that live on the Gulf Coast on that side near New Orleans and Biloxi. And
Laura, if you look at the forecast track, they've got it bullseyed right at the Texas-Louisiana border.
Yeah, right on the cliff.
Beaumont and Lake Charles both just could get just pounded.
I can only imagine because when I was doing the baseball games, they got hit pretty hard by some storms in Lake Charles already. And,
right.
I can only imagine now.
Yeah. So anyway, our thoughts and prayers to everybody on the golf course. Please be safe. Please get out of there. And I know Mayor Sylvester Turner of Houston, he's already said, look, if you haven't left by tonight, then stay off the road, just shelter in place best you can. But if you have a chance, if you can get out of there, find somewhere, whether it's hotel, family, whatever, get somewhere safe. And yeah, that could get crazy. So, but anyway, yeah, we'll talk to Justin, like I said, about the Thunderdome. He wrote a great piece for Sports Illustrated about the Thunderdome and what they had set up. What do you think of the Thunderdome?
Besides the people, messing with their screens.
Yes, because we can't have anything nice.
No, never. But Thunderdome, I mean, I like it, but it's like, at the same token, this was my original idea the whole time. It's like, I've been talking about this since WrestleMania, so I'm just like, you could have done it, you just didn't do it.
Didn't do it until now, right? Yeah. I mean, it's,
I was like
I said, it's nice, I guess, the lights and the pyro and everything.
It's the future.
That's the one thing I was thinking of the other day. What if this becomes like the trend? They never let fans in wrestling shows again.
Nah, that will never happen. But you do bring up a very interesting point, and since we're on here, I'd like to just put it down for the record.
Right.
I'm pretty sure what is going to end up happening, even though fans will be welcomed back into attendance at some point, hopefully during the year of 2021. I know they're talking about it here.
Right.
I still don't see it really happening.
I would say 2021.
Let's say 2021, when fans are safely able to return.
Right.
I still see this being another option that, especially like teams like the Dallas Cowboys or the New York Yankees that have a huge fan base and already sell out tickets and can't fit any more people into the stadium because they already have a sellout, to be able to just get a few more of those like cowboy bar seats,
Right. The standing room only.
It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Except like,
I could see that. I could see them set up something like, for instance, you mentioned the Cowboys. I could see them set up something at the Star in Frisco.
Yeah.
Kind of a virtual type deal.
Can you imagine for training camp if they allowed people to get these things like, oh, we're going to sell you these little things at training camp? I mean, people bought the cutouts.
They bought the cutouts for the Rangers and every other baseball team.
So
why not?
Yeah, can you imagine if you are selling the client and you're telling them like, hey, we're going to put your live picture, national audience, and whatever you're piping in can be heard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good sale for obviously a lot of people that might not want to take a risk even in 2021 because while the fast track to the vaccine and stuff, all this other stuff going on, no guarantees.
No.
So maybe that might change the way that some people will approach large gatherings in the future, and you have to be considerate of that. We've already seen that with you going out to Del Diamond.
Yeah.
There might be a future
card.
Where concerts are just going to be people scattered 6 feet apart in little squares.
Watching it on screen.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have that this weekend with Metallica at the Del Diamond, at the Star in Frisco. I know some other at several locations across the country.
I saw overseas that they had the social distancing, but they had like, well, what do we call them when you go hunting? Like deer blinds?
Yeah.
They had like a deer blind essentially, but like a small patio where you could sit there and drink and actually in a chair and lounge. You didn't have to stand up the whole time.
Yeah.
And the more that that society moves away from people like yourself and like myself, because we're just getting older, like the new generation is used to having more extravagance. They like to have some more plushness to their outgoing, and
like
I think
like the sweet life. Let me get a hold of Mr. Barrasso and see if.
Stu, good evening.
Hey, what's up, Justin? How you doing, man?
Doing well, thanks. Nice to hear your voice. How are you?
Doing well. My co-host Justin's here with us. So, Justin, say hi to Justin.
Yeah, I know, it's always weird. Hey, Justin, how's it going?
So,
nice to hear your voice too.
So,
2 minutes away from silence. How do I sound right now?
You sound perfect. You sound great.
All right, let's do it then.
All right, man. So I'm going to do the intro, and then we'll get going. We'll talk Thunderdome. We'll talk all the stuff. All right?
Great. Thank you again for having me.
My pleasure. Here we go.
Hi, this is Allie, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
The Fiend setting the monster up again, face first with another Sister Abigail. On the exposed wood of the ring, covered by the Fiend, we have a new Universal Champion. Here is your winner and the new Universal Champion, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. The Fiend is champion again. Once more, darkness reigns over the WWE Universe. What a hellacious battle between the Fiend and the Monster. Oh my God, what the hell? Who the hell? You know who the hell that is? God, it's Roman Reigns! Roman Reigns! The big dog is here! Roman Reigns is back! And he's beating the hell out of the Universal Champion!
He's back. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons wearing his Rey Mysterio mask.
Booyaka.
Booyaka.
I thought you were going to say he's back. I was like, are you referring to the big dog or are you referring to Backwoods Stu, who just came back from
Both
Arkansas?
of that. Both of those. And we'll talk about that later. But yeah, Roman Reigns, audio courtesy of WWE Network from this weekend's SummerSlam. And to help us break it all down and get ready for Payback, because after all, Payback 6 days away. Joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline, our good friend from Sports Illustrated, Justin Barrasso. Find him on Twitter at Justin Barrasso. Justin, how much did you miss Roman Reigns?
Well, thank you for having me back on, guys. It was a pleasure. He added so much life to the product. It couldn't have worked out with better timing, I thought, in terms of being in the Thunderdome and having the right setting for him to come back. And it's been fun to see how much people have been talking about it and how much people think, hey, Roman's a heel, Roman's a babyface. To me, it's all on the broadcast, right? That was Corey Graves who just said darkness reigns once again over the WWE Universe, whatever that line was. To me, then Reigns appears right after. You know, he's the White Knight. So I'm curious to hear that promo on Friday on SmackDown, but it's just great to have Roman back.
I agree. And I don't, like I said, I don't know why everybody thought it was a heel turn. I mean, I guess because he was trash talking and he looked like he was just angry, but he seemed like just the intense badass version of the big dog.
Yeah,
Justin?
There was definitely no heel turn in that. That was just like some guy that we hadn't seen in 3 months, hungry because he knew that the title is his. Technically, he was supposed to be in that match at WrestleMania against Goldberg, and then all this stuff hit, newborns, everything into account. Man, that was just a guy that was hungry just to be happy to be back and ready to go.
Yeah. Hey, Justin Barrasso, were you surprised?
It was those chair shots, I think, that did it on Braun, but I agree. I think it's I've been waiting for a story about WrestleMania since that SmackDown when it was a graphic where they said, on SmackDown they said it'll be Braun versus Goldberg, and like no story, nothing. Mm-hmm. So maybe we can finally they can give us a story as to why that happened, and because wrestling without the story, I mean, it's such a critical piece of it. So it would be nice to hear. And whether it's the truth or a storyline or whatever it is, just something that makes sense, that puts Roman back, why he's upset with Braun, why he wants the belt from Bray. I mean, I'm really looking at that piece of SmackDown really excites me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You wrote a great piece for Sports Illustrated on the Thunderdome, so give me your thoughts. We've seen it for a SmackDown, SummerSlam, and now Raw. Give me your grade for the WWE Thunderdome.
Oh, letter grade or number? No, I'm kidding. I think it's been really good. It's definitely added energy to the product. They needed to get out of the Performance Center. I mean, it definitely served its purpose. They've been there since March, though. And that's I think NXT did it well with that Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano fight before the TakeOver, leading up to what should have been TakeOver, but ended up happening on the NXT special. But to me, that's how you use the Performance Center. It's a one-off, right? It's, you go into the weight room, you do this, you do that, you break the shatter the glass. That's where that setting works so well. Not as a week-to-week, but they had no other option. That was their best choice. AEW really benefits from an open-air arena. Daily's Place is such a cool visual, I think, and it's a little more lively. And it's 2 hours a week, right? And then you're not seeing Raw from that spot, SmackDown from that spot, NXT from that spot. So I know they also have Full Sail. So I think it's nice to have something new. I know there's been some really unfortunate occurrences of people putting grotesque. I mean, there's no better way to put it, like just bad stuff on screen. And I hope WWE can pursue those people, and they're never allowed back. I mean, hey, I know that wrestling is a unique product because unlike the NBA, you're not catering it to a certain age. Basketball is just basketball, and there's joy in the game of basketball. Wrestling's different. It's multi-ages, spanning generations. And to put some of the cruel stuff that people have put on in the background, I just don't, even somebody had their head on a pillow, like they fell asleep. Hey, if you want to be funny, that's one thing, right? Or try for comedy, which is super hard. But hey, go for that. But being mean or cruel, I think that's been the one downside too. But overall, I think it's added a tremendous amount of energy to their product.
But that's always been wrestling fans in general, at least here recently. It's about getting themselves over sometimes instead of just letting the performers go out and do what they do best.
I agree to a point, but I still think, just having been writing about wrestling, I think I've been writing about it for the Boston Herald or Sports Illustrated or different publications for the past 9 years. And just basing it off like the emails I get and people I meet at shows, and to me, it's still a vocal minority that is cruel like that. I think wrestling fans, I think wrestling fans are wonderful. Now, of course, there are bad ones. There's bad people everywhere. But I think in general, I hate to throw a blanket on wrestling fans. One of the moments that meant a lot to me was Stu was all in. And we weren't talking as wrestling reporters or as breaking news. We were just talking as two wrestling fans. And we really didn't. That's kind of the first time I think we met in person. And we were talking about Cody Rhodes winning the NWA championship and or the NWA world title, and how much that moment meant to wrestling, to our fandom. That was so special. So I still like to think, I know, wrestling fans, it's an amazing community, and it is too bad that some really lousy people, or people who made lousy choices, however you want to differentiate it, kind of make the whole community look bad. Because I still think the world of wrestling fans, and you can't tell me otherwise. So I don't know. But it is frustrating when a few people try to ruin something so special.
I couldn't agree more. There are some bad apples. There are some great wrestling fans, but there are bad apples. And they always seem to find a way to get the attention, and it'd be great to not have to pay attention to them for wherever you are. It doesn't matter whether it's WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, or wherever. So
it was tasteless. That's what it was, though.
Very tasteless.
Especially the ones refereeing seeing the Hoods and Chris Benoit. Dude, I was like, wow.
Yeah, just really bad. Let me get your take on. What was your favorite moment outside of, I guess, the main event? Was there another moment out at SummerSlam that kind of stuck in you as a really cool moment?
I couldn't. Well, two things did. I thought it was the Mandy Rose Sonya Deville match. Those are two very talented performers, two very talented pro wrestlers that were, part of the story at WrestleMania. But let's be honest, they were the side characters, right? They were on the side, outside the ring. It was Ziggler and Otis. That was their show at Mania. So obviously, Mandy and Sonya played a role in the success of that match. It was so much fun to see them take their role and build from it and grow. And by SummerSlam, they were the story. And Otis, with the briefcase, was almost a supporting character, which isn't a bad thing. But they were just so good and so talented. They, I thought, owned their moment. They've both been through, tremendous amount of stress with real life lately, unfortunately. I thought that match was fantastic. And I loved, you mentioned as the show was starting that Justin's wearing his Rey Mysterio mask. I never thought I could enjoy a Dominic Mysterio match as much as I did with Rey, not even maybe a tag team match. Seth Rollins was incredible. Buddy Murphy played his role as the Goon so well. I thought outside the ring. When handcuffs, I always go back to Dusty Rhodes and the Big Boss Man. When handcuffs are used right, they make a big difference. And with Ray having to watch, and then Seth actually giving Dominic the key at the end, there were so many layers to that story. Dominic's mother, Dominic's history in wrestling with SummerSlam in 2005. I thought everything about that match. And I haven't always loved Seth Rollins as the Monday Night Messiah. I think sometimes it really works well. Sometimes there's just something missing. Man, they were hitting, I thought, on every level this past Sunday.
Well, it goes to say what you were talking about earlier, that storyline is always the number one seller when it comes to wrestling. And that was probably the deepest story of the night, considering all the characters in play. But the one thing I really love about Seth Rollins is the attention to detail. The big callback to the 1995 Halloween Havoc Rey Mysterio outfit with his choice of attire. And, of course, Dominic going back to that 2005 SummerSlam with his choice of attire as well. I thought it was just like so cool that you had these little callbacks for these generation-long wrestling fans to get that little surprise, those Easter eggs, if you will.
I agree. And it's nice when, this is going to sound silly, but, we know how much time we spend watching wrestling and caring about the characters and the stories. And it's cool when they care too. There was an interview last week with Brody Lee before they aired the Dynamite where he won the TNT title, which I thought was well done. It was a kind of a Clubber Lang, Rocky story. I thought it was well done. And it was so cool to hear. At least I thought it was neat how proudly Brody Lee spoke of his run in the Wyatt family. Like, that wasn't something that was in his rearview mirror that he's bitter about that he left and WWE didn't believe. Like, he still loved the fact that 3 out of 4 members of the Wyatts were in big matches that weekend, title matches for major companies that weekend. Like, it's cool when the performers care, when the wrestlers care, and I think Seth Rollins absolutely cares. And Rey Mysterio, I mean, what a pro's pro, a legend in pro wrestling. Yeah, I thought that was really well done. Even the world title match, I didn't like the fact that they didn't close. Drew McIntyre hasn't closed a pay-per-view since the second night of WrestleMania, which is crazy. But I understand with Roman back, you have to end with Roman, and I get that. But I liked how they had a backslide ending that match. Like, to me, every match should end with a finishing move.
I love the backslide. Of course, then again, I remember vividly Kerry beating Rick in the Cotton Bowl or in Texas Stadium for the title there with a backslide. So I was totally okay with that, and that was a nice little touch. It really was. We're talking with Justin.
It's a wrestling move to win a wrestling match.
Yes, beautiful. It was. Talking with Justin Barrasso from Sports Illustrated. Follow him on Twitter at Justin Barrasso. Let me ask you this. So we fast forward to Monday night, and apparently we saw the debut on Raw of Keith Lee, who you're very familiar with. We're very familiar with. Good friend of ours, from just down the road in San Antonio and Wichita Falls. But apparently people were not as positive about his debut. They thought it was done wrong. Give me your take.
Well, I think in wrestling, it's the beauty of wrestling. It's one size doesn't fit all. I like the fact that they let Keith Lee be Keith Lee at the Survivor Series. They let Keith Lee be himself at the Royal Rumble in that really cool moment with Brock. So to me, why do you want to change the guy? Why does he need to wear a shirt? We know what he looks like. I mean, if you're watching NXT, like, you're already invested in this guy. A month ago he's holding 2 belts. So I wish I understood why he lost the Cross on Saturday at TakeOver. Tough match, I think, with the shoulder injury from Karrion Kross, from Killer Kross. But I hope that adds to his story of just, that's gutty to work through that match. And obviously Lee did his best to protect him. In terms of Ross, too, yeah, I was disappointed that he wasn't presented as the Keith Lee that we knew from AEW, from NXT. But I think they can fix that. I think they can make that, they can enhance him. It was week 1 of hopefully a multi-year run where he's one of the top stars in WWE. I don't know. The first thing I would do, if you can't get his theme music back, I wasn't devastated about that, but it was more the gear for me. Let him just be himself, and I think he's proven, right? He can be a star.
Absolutely. Keith Lee can captivate a room, can captivate whatever room he's working in, just with what he says, and without even making a move. And of course, he is just an incredible athlete. So let's hope that he does have that long and successful run, and we get to see the Keith Lee that all of us have grown to love and admire for so many years between NXT and his run in the Indies.
You guys are being nice. Let's just be honest here. Why did they make him look like a big Shorty G? Did they take Did they take Cassius Ohno's extra jerseys and hand them to him? What's with the baggy shorts? They made him look even bigger because they took the bulk of his legs away. What's up with the music change? Isn't NXT supposed to be a nationally broadcasted television show? People should be familiar with this character already, right? If it's a true A-B level show now, right? It's on that level.
True.
So why make all these changes last minute, especially since he's already been introduced to the universe, quote unquote, many times before this anyways?
I like the fact that, I'm with you. If NXT is what they claim it to be, and I think it is, right? They're on USA every Wednesday night. Like, what a cool thing that he left NXT and he signed with Raw or whatever that story wants to be. But why do you need to change the guy? Yeah. But again, I'm not going to write him out. He's still working Randy Orton. That's a huge program. Orton's red hot. So I think there's opportunity to fix this. But there are clearly some things they need to fix.
Right. They need to change the presentation back to what we, like you said, what we know and what we love about Keith Lee. So,
and if you don't believe in the guy, and this is WWE or Vince McMahon or whomever it is that decided to make those changes, if they don't believe in him, then you don't bring him to the main roster. You can't have these guys play characters, right? It's got to feel like Damian Priest. I feel like that's the guy who we watch. He's not playing a character anymore. I think Punishment Martinez sometimes felt that way. Maybe Damian Priest at the beginning. I feel like you're watching an authentic, genuine version of that performer now when he wrestles. I actually got Cameron Grimes, too. We're very briefly getting on topic of TakeOver. He was sensational in that match. I thought that was a big step toward his taking a big step towards stardom. But, it was just, to me, it was just such a great weekend or a great stretch of wrestling. From Friday through Saturday with NXT and AEW, Sunday SummerSlam, Monday Raw. It's just been a good stretch.
It really has. So I've been asking this question for the last 2 weeks, and I still can't get a straight answer. So we did see another installment of Raw Underground. And at first I was like, I was kind of looking at it like, what in the world is this? I will admit, it's starting to grow on me. But I still have the same problem I've had every week it's presented, which is, what's the point? Where does it fit in the WWE canon, or is it simply violence for the sake of violence?
And to me, they lost their opportunity. You could still do it, but being at the Performance Center, all you needed to do that opening night was have Shane start in the main ring, where in the PC where the NXT and the Performance Center talents were surrounding the ring. Have him give a 5-minute and Shane's great on the mic. Have him explain what Raw Underground is, how it started, why it exists, and hey, I'm going to take you right now. And then we at least know what the meaning of this is, because otherwise I feel like it just shows up and it's just going to disappear some week too. I'm glad they haven't given up on it. I hope it continues, because I do think there's potential for it used in the right way for people, female and male, to look tough and look different and present themselves differently. And I think, and not that you want to highlight just older talent or older stars, I keep thinking about that tweet from Ken Shamrock when Ken said, I'd love to come back to Raw Underground. And I've reached out to Ken, and I've got to ask him if he even could with his contract. I don't know if it's per appearance with Impact or what. But the point being, guys like Ken, older stars that aren't with the company, indie stars, you could have people pop in and out of Raw Underground looking for a fight. To me, it's just so different than anything else we're seeing. It has the chance to be very bad, but I think it has the chance to be good too. A guy like Shamrock, I'd love to see him come back for 2 weeks and wreck people and then in the third week have Dolph Ziggler knock him out and send him out of there. And then all of a sudden, you gave Dolph some extra shine. I think there's plenty of potential, but again, where's the story, Stu? I just don't get it. And until they tell us, I think there's going to be a major divide between what we're watching and what we're feeling.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. One angle that I wish would go away without explanation, the R word, retribution. They run the ending of the match Monday night on Raw with Ray and Dominic against Seth and Murphy. Don't call him Buddy. Are we gonna see something from this, or is this just going to be one of those things? I've said all along, and Justin and I have talked about this. There's I can't think of an option about a reveal that is going to make the needle move. I can't see where this will this end up being anything but a disappointment.
And the thing with wrestling is we've probably seen everything pretty much, right?
Yes.
Because it's not, it's not CM Punk under that mask, or I saw we saw that, was it Ryan Satin, I think, that reported that Wade Barrett's back and he's doing broadcasting, or he's part of the broadcast team on NXT tomorrow or Wednesday night, which is cool. But I wouldn't want, and then you saw the, rumors or speculation, maybe Wade's behind this. I hope it's new. I hope it's fresh. To me, it would be very different, and I would be extremely interested in this if it was an all-female group. I think that has tons of potential, regardless of whoever you put in charge, right? Maybe you put, I don't know if that's Chelsea Green or if that's Shayna Baszler, or I don't know. There's just so many options to me. It's different. We've seen these all-male groups come. I don't know if we've ever seen an all-female ass-kicking group like this that wants to wreak havoc, that wants to take over shows, that wants to headline, that wants to be in main events. I think you could do a lot with it, and it adds to the women's division too, or just adds to the programming. I think it would be different because otherwise, and I'm a big fan of Dijakovic, or I know Tommaso Ciampa is back on NXT on Wednesday, but if it were guys like that, I don't know. What's the longevity behind it? If it was Shayna Baszler, I'd watch every second of it. I don't know. I feel like it could be, again, they have the opportunity to be different, be unique. I don't know if that'll happen, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I get you. He is Justin Barrasso. Read his stuff in Sports Illustrated or SI.com. Follow him on Twitter at Justin Barrasso on Twitter. Hey, by the way, hope your family doing okay, everybody doing okay where you are?
Yeah, thank you. Everything's well in Boston, thankfully, and I hope the same for you guys as well.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for giving us some of your time. All the best to you and yours. Be safe, be well. Hopefully one of these days we get to cross paths again at some event. But until then, be well, do well, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hope we reconnect soon. Thanks for the time, guys.
All right, Justin. Thank you so much, my friend. That was great.
Hey, that was a pleasure.
Hey.
Thank you. Anytime. I appreciate it. Justin, thank you as well.
Hey, Justin, I wanted to ask you a question since we're still on YouTube and we're still rolling here. Just before we let you go, do you think this is Randy Orton's best run of his career? Because man, he looked so good at SummerSlam when he wrestled Drew. I mean, that match really caught my attention, but his selling, wow, it just was on another level that night.
Yeah, it's hard, right, to compare. I mean, he had some great stuff early on. That Taker match, the build to that and the match itself, I love. But if it's not the best he's ever produced, it's right there, right? I agree. And it feels so different. Like last year, he's in the title match with Kofi. And I actually liked that match. I didn't like the way it finished. I think it finished with a DQ or a count out. It didn't finish cleanly. But that match was to establish Kofi, right? They wanted to make Kofi an even more special champion. And Orton was the guy to great opponent to do. He felt more like the opponent in that match. He felt more like the featured attraction with Drew. I actually had hoped he'd win the belt. I hoped that they were going to end the show that way, just because it makes McIntyre more special too, chasing this seemingly unstoppable champion. So it's tough. I think McIntyre's done a great job, not to change subjects, but keep it on the same. You look at Orton. It's tough to be Drew McIntyre. I mean, he's got a story like David, but the guy looks like Goliath, so it's hard to imagine him as the underdog. Randy Orton is one of the few guys that can legitimately make him look like the underdog, because Randy's so great in the ring and conniving a character, and and all that. So I agree. I thought, Randy, it was the right time to make the move and put the belt on him. But how do you do that when you need the Universal Championship match to go last? So Roman comes on and you're going to end the show with him. So I guess the one way you could have done it was put the world, like, go old school Hogan and put the world title match mid-card, like flat in the middle of the card.
So you can get out early.
There you go. Why not? They had was it Seth and Brock at the beginning of WrestleMania last year,
right?
So they can get out early. So
I don't like and I don't like, Stu, when we go back to back. Well, that was, what did we end with? We ended with back to back title matches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess when it was the women's to the men's, it's different divisions, so I get it. But man, I spread those matches out. It's like, and I know with the women it was tricky because you had Asuka in 2 matches, so you needed to spread those matches out, and I get that. But to go Drew, Randy, straight to Braun and Bray,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, what title's supposed to mean more? It's titles. I don't know. I wish those were spread out a little bit more.
You needed a buffer somewhere in there. You know, it needed to be some sort of just a. But again, a lot of that had to do with giving the live crowd a chance to catch their breath. Well, no live crowd, so I guess you don't have to do that. So I don't know. We'll see.
And maybe the tag title match, but there's more titles there too. So with 2 brands, there's just too many titles.
Too many titles. You're right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. All right, Justin, I'll let you go. Get back to your good stuff, and again, we'll reach out to you here soon, and we'll put this. This will air tomorrow, and I'll make sure and tag you and everything.
Yeah, please do. I'll retweet and all that good stuff. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Have a good night.
All right, you too, bud. He's such a wealth of information and such a great writer. I mean, if you haven't already, go to si.com, read his stuff. He is such a wealth of knowledge for a guy his age, and does such a great job. A sports guy like us, and just a really, really good dude all around.
I'm always excited to have him on, but I was even more excited just because I had read what he done about Thunderdome beforehand, and it's just like, he's always on top of it.
He is. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, I'm going to interview. I got an interview with a gentleman named Kyle Hessler. There's a huge event coming to the Metroplex this coming weekend, Indie Wrestling Expo. Kyle Hessler is the man behind talent relations for that. We'll talk to him next on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. All right, 24:05, so that's good. All right, so a little bit of bonus there for the YouTubers, which was good. Good job there.
I mean,
Mass Man.
It is true, though. Randy Orton, man. Like, I really sat there and watched him at SummerSlam, and I was just like, dude, this guy is just on another level right now. Like, he always, like, when he looks out on his feet, he looks out on his feet.
He does.
When he's ready to attack, you could just see in his mannerisms. It's just like, it's ultimate body language selling, doing the least amount possible to get the best reaction.
He is.
And that's the art that
I
miss.
He gets a knock. He gets knocked a lot because his style is not the most exciting style. It's very methodical, but then again, and I have to remind myself, that's kind of his gimmick. He's methodical. You're not going to see the corkscrew planches out of him. You're going to see methodical. You're going to see, the evil.
He doesn't waste. He doesn't waste moves.
Yes, he doesn't waste moves.
Everything has to like. This kind of reminds me of wrestling school. Everything has. Wrestling is almost like a sentence.
Yes.
You have a beginning, you have that middle part, and then you have the period or the question mark, and then you go to the next sentence. And that's exactly the way, if you go back and look at it that way, that's how that match went at SummerSlam between him and Drew. Every pin is a sentence.
Absolutely.
Ending.
I agree. All right, so we'll do, what time's your game tip off?
Soon. Okay,
we'll do a quick last segment, and then you go root on your Mavericks. Is Luka okay?
He's playing, but Kristaps not playing tonight.
Okay, all right. So.
Disappointed there.
All right, here we go. Get back here. Here we go.
What does everybody want? This is former WWE superstar Al Snow, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. You heard Justin Barrasso in the first segment talk about AEW Dynamite Brody Lee winning the TNT title from Cody Rhodes, and then the Dark Order beating up the family.
And that's how you make like an introduction of like purpose to a group.
Yes, you including our co-host Dustin Rhodes.
Mm-hmm. They took out
looks.
everybody.
Yeah, took out Brandy. What was her, I said her name earlier. Something J.
Well,
but anyway,
the way
she like, choked out Brandy. So
yeah, but the way it's presented, like we were talking about Retribution,
yes,
and how it's been.
Dark Order is like 100 times better than Retribution, especially now.
It's taken a lot longer.
It's
to get
taken
there.
a lot longer. Yes, there was a time, but it's taken a lot longer. Also, did you see this? So they've got pay-per-view coming up, All Out.
Yes.
The AEW Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida, she's got a challenger, and it's none other than the NWA Women's World Champion and our good friend, Thunder Rosa.
A well-deserved. That's exactly what I saw on Twitter. I was like, really? Okay. So they admitted a couple of things there. AEW, must have been listening, that they know, hey, our women's division's a little shallow. We need some outside help. No problem, right?
That's cool. That is really cool that they're going to bring her in.
I know, and it also validates the NWA Women's Championship title too,
Absolutely.
because it's a major championship. Hey, there's some now national eye recognition on this belt.
Yes,
and it's just another chance for Thunder Rosa to be in front of a large crowd again, like she was on
Ring of Honor.
Well, I was thinking Lucha Underground.
But
this time to be herself, to be her true character, like her final form as a true champion, and get a chance to show an even bigger audience what she has been capable of doing this whole time.
I'm so happy for her. I dare say that could be the main event for All Out. I know it'll be MJF and Moxley, but
yeah, I was gonna say, well, it definitely could be a show stealer. Because she'll bring it.
I definitely put it in the semi-main, that's for sure. So, anyway, good on Thunder Rosa challenging Shida for the AEW Women's World title. NJPW Strong this Friday night. By the way, congratulations, Kenta, winning the New Japan Cup USA. He now will challenge Jon Moxley for the IWGP US Heavyweight title, wherever and whenever that happens.
I know, but I'm excited for Kenta to be back in the high life again.
Well, and Jeff Cobb made his intentions known. He wants to challenge, so we may see Kenta and Jeff Cobb, or we see Jeff Cobb challenge Kenta for the briefcase. We'll see. This Friday night, we will see PJ Black taking on Chase Owens from Bullet Club. A 8-man tag. Check this out. TJP, ACH, Carl Fredericks, and Clark Connors taking on Mysterioso, Barrett Brown, 50 Caliber, Blake Christian, and Adrian Quest.
Oh, yeah, I've been seeing that one on Twitter this whole time, so I'm looking forward to that one, seeing a couple of Texas boys do their thing.
Absolutely. And Danny Limelight taking on Jordan Clearwater. So that'll be NJPW Strong this Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on NJPW World. I saw Barrett Brown. I went to the SW Fury tapings on Sunday in Canton. By the way, fantastic. You need to check them out, whether it's on Fight TV or some of the other outlets that they're on. Barrett Brown was there. Had a chance to say hi and tell him how proud we were of him. He, just so good. Ran into the Boogeyman, our friend the Boogeyman, looking as creepy as always. Saw, of course, our friend Road Warrior Animal. Teddy Long was there as the GM. Several of our favorite wrestlers. Jordan Grace was there, the former Impact Knockouts champion. So huge thanks again, James Beard and everybody at SW Fury, for letting me come over for a little while and hang out and just have a good time. And they've got a great following and they've got a great product, and I want them to succeed so badly, because it is just another outlet that we can enjoy some great professional wrestling. So,
well, I'm always for my friends to get work. That's also
yes,
nice too.
Not to mention, yes, all the people we know are getting work. So, one other thing before we get out of here, Major League Wrestling is making their preparations to return. So they have hired someone to be a COVID-19 compliance officer, and they're having their staff undergo COVID-19 certification training. I'll quote from MLW's head, Court Bauer, quote, "The health and welfare of our athletes, crew, and staff is very important. This new position will provide the league with insight, strategy, and guidance as we strive to deliver the best practices and safety measures for the restart." So congratulations to MLW. They're getting this right. And if you've seen the stuff they put up on YouTube, they've got some great storylines that we will get to see once they start back up with Fusion and some of their other products.
Well, I didn't want to steal all your thunder here at the end, Stu, but you know how we were talking about Keith Lee and his presentation? Well, he tweeted about an hour ago, "Music is out of my hands, period. Leave it be. I'll sort it out later." So I guess people have been making their voices heard.
And I've heard rumors that somebody else owns that song.
That's what I figured.
And they were going to charge an insane amount of money to WWE.
That's why it was so generic, too, because they probably just need something to fill in.
You know, they could use his old indie wrestling theme.
I do like his old theme.
I think Keith owns that. I've got that somewhere, so that would be cool.
Still times for some shout-outs. We have a
real quick.
Happy belated birthday to Eddie Cross. His birthday was this past
from
weekend.
Fight Night. Our man, the one and the only. Where's the thing? It's over here. I moved it over here. Eddie Cross. Yeah.
Happy belated birthday to the one, the only Vince McMahon.
Yes, 75 years old, the old man. Crazy as always, but happy birthday.
And then the last shout-out. Oh, thank you, Renee Young, for everything that you did while you're at WWE. Class act. She is going to be going. So she's going to be huge.
She's a fantastic broadcaster. I look forward to seeing her
wherever.
It could be another wrestling promotion. Could be ESPN, Fox Sports. She could do it. I mean, we see Charlie Caruso work on ESPN. Renee could easily fit in with, say Fox Sports or one of those outlets.
She is so good. As a broadcaster, really she's been one of my favorites. I'm really going to miss seeing her on WWE programming.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We are proud to be the official broadcast partner of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we're proud to be part of the great lineup you hear every day. On the flagship station for the Texas Longhorns, we are The Horn. Catch us Wednesday nights on The Horn, or catch us anytime on demand by going to hornfm.com and click on the On Air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast platform. Our thanks to Justin Barrasso from Sports Illustrated for joining us, and our thanks to you giving us some of your time tonight. For Justin, I'm Stu. Thank you so much, and we will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
I don't know why you wore it the whole time either. You got to go, right?
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable though for me.
Well, that sounds bad. Well, and Mysterio's
It's actually comfy.
Yeah, Mysterio has some comfy masks. So, all right, go root on your Mavericks. Turn your thing back on.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, good seeing you.
Yes.
And I was just thinking about, what would have been really funny
What's that?
if the very first one is Keith Lee, but then you play like just random music or no music. That's at some point.
I have to remake it because
that's right, because you were having bed
the bed is already in.
That's
so
right, that's right. Well, I don't know. That's
Plus, we just used Keith Lee recently.
Yeah,
so
it is what it is, man. Anyways, good to see you. Glad that you got back in one piece.
Thank
you. Definitely we'll discuss more of it later on. But hopefully the Mavs can win tonight. Go Mavs.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Renee.
See ya. All right, so that'll do it. That's all I've got, I think. Let me make sure I didn't miss something. Again, we didn't go much on Payback, but as I said, there's only 4 matches right now. We even talked one of them, Keith Lee and Randy Orton. So, I forgot to. I was going to fade that. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, yeah. all in all, it was a good weekend for wrestling. It really was. So, but that's going to do it here. We will be back on YouTube next week, and we'll talk what happens with Payback. We'll talk what happens at AEW. We didn't mention it, but AEW, don't forget, AEW on Thursday night this week instead of Wednesday night. They still got the NBA playoffs, so AEW Dynamite on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on TNT. That's it for us. Again, thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm Stu. We'll catch you next week.